व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वर गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ध्यानमूलं गुरोर्मूर्ति पूजामूलं गुरोर्पदं मन्त्रमूलं गुरोर्वाक्यं मोक्षमूलं गुरोर्कृपां ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदा साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि, सद्गुरुं तं स्मरामि, सद्गुरुं तं भजामि। अनन्याश्चिन्तयन्तो मां ये जना पर्युपासते तेषां नित्याभियुक्तानां योगक्षेमं वहाम्यहम्। सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वां सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः। ब्रह्मार्पणं ब्रह्म हविर्ब्रह्माग्नो ब्रह्मणाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं ब्रह्मकर्म समाधिनां। नमो श्री ब्रह्म विद्याय योगशास्त्रे नमः श्री गुरुचरणकमलेभ्यो नमः श्री कृष्णाय नमः। Hello, welcome to this session of the Bhagavad Gita as interpreted by the Venerable Shamacharan Lahiri Mahashay, the Adi Guru of Kriyayogi'S in the modern day in India, and detailed by his favorite disciple, Bramhrishi Yogiguru, Bhupendranath Sanyal Mahashay. We have had the good luck to be able to finish the very beautiful introduction given by Sanyal Mahashay. That is about 85 pages. I think we will be able to manage to finish the last 10 pages. In the process of reading the Gita or explaining the Gita in English, I have learned one thing. If you translate it from Hindi or Bengali or some other thing, and then you try to put it into, literal translation, then you lose in terms of emotion, in terms of spiritual content, in terms of spontaneity and stuff like that. So what I'm doing is virtually what we have done in Hindi. I've already recited for the last 5:30 to 6:30 about an hour in Hindi. It's the same portion is now I'm going to repeat in English without really referring to the written text unless I lose my memory or some really tough passage is required. So let us start. Today's session describes some of the most intensive interpretation of Lahiri Mahashay regarding the world, the maker of the world, and we, the creatures of the world, and how there is interaction between all of us, and how benevolent is the maker. He loves his creatures. And in the process, how he showed Arjun his Virat Roop, his extended Roop is what? Profile. No, profile is not a good word. See, this is why English is not such a favorite word of language of mine in terms of explaining the Gita. I'm more fluent in Hindi or even in Bengali. Doesn't matter. Now let us go into the characters or the lineage of the Mahabharata. It starts with Maharaja Shantanu. If in a literal translation, Shantanu, a still body, still but steady. He is the Atma who has got this body. He marries two ladies at two different times. The first wife of his is Ganga. Now let me simultaneously give you the interpretation that Lahiri Mahashay has given. That will make it easier for us. So Shantanu is the Atma, the soul. The two wives are Ganga, which is the Sushumna vein. I don't know whether you should call it vein or nerve or a combination. And Ganga, when you get married to Ganga, that means just like Arjun got married to Draupadi, Draupadi is also Sushumna. Then you have divine children. So the Ganga here had 8 sons. They are the Astavashu. Now this is something that I'll refer to the book and come back to you. Astavashu, out of which 7 were drowned by Ganga itself. What is the meaning of this drowning here? The meaning of the drowning is, it is Sushumna, remember. So these Astavashus are absorbed by the Sushumna so that their divine powers are not available outside the Sushumna. That's what it means. The 8th one is known as Bhishma, also known as Satyavrat, also known as Prabhav. Satyavrat, determination to follow the truth. But his very life is based on falsehood. Such a powerful personality. He is also, Lahiri Mahashay explains, he is also reflected, in Hindi we call it Chetna, here it would be, I don't know. Main Chetna comes from the Lord himself. So Chetna is the power of enlivenment. Wherever God comes or Chetna comes, that means you become alive. It activates. And the moment the Chetna goes out, you become so much as a pile of dust. So Abhas Chetna, which is reflected Chetna, is not the same as God. He is Jeev, you and me. And our characteristic is, this is all from what Lahiri Mahashay has written, and I'm just trying to put it into English words. What Lahiri Mahashay has written is, such a Jeev, is also called Jeevatma, also called Jeev Chaitanya, Abhas Chaitanya. Abhas is, Abhas is reflection. like a mirror image. So this Jeev, this Avas Chaitanya, this Bhishma, takes a vow that he will not marry, because he doesn't want to have offspring who will maybe later on occupy the throne. Why? Because he wants his father, Shantanu, to be happy. Ganga is already gone. To be happy in his life. So he gets him this beautiful looking Satyavati. Now what is Satyavati? The very word Satyavati means like reality. Like the real thing. Sansar, the world. It is like the real thing. I talked about Matrix. The guy who is in the capsule, totally unconscious of what his actual position is, and living in a dream world fed by the computer. So we are that guy in the capsule. We are Satyavati. We are the Sansar. We are parts of the Sansar. Now Satyavati is very attractive. The world is, go out, meet people, have fun. But the reality is quite different. The guys who are celebrating some festival in Israel when the Hamas attacked, they were celebrating. But there were forces, the dark forces, who attacked and killed. And in return, the whole weight of the Israeli army is now destroying a major number of Palestinians. But that is beside the point. The point I am making here is we get attracted to trivial things, good car, good building, good house, lovely looking wife or husband, smart, lot of money, and blah 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 blah, which is not going to last, which has a duration which is enticing, but if you look back, put your head up like that and relax and think, where is it leading you? Are you really happy? Are you really satisfied with the way you are in terms of spiritual achievement, in terms of mental satisfaction? You may be very rich, doesn't matter. So, Satyavati is this illusory pleasure that Shantanu finds. Now Shantanu is given two sons by Satyavati. Now let's first finish with Bhishma. Bhishma has promised to Satyavati's father that he will not marry, he will not beget children, and he will always serve in the interests of the whoever is occupying the throne. Okay, and in that way he makes a very strong oath, a resolution, and he sticks to it throughout his life. Now Satyavati gets two children for Shantanu. These are two sons. One is called Vichitravirya and the other is called Chitrangad. Vichitra means strange, Virya means strength. I'll explain that to you after I refer to the book. It gives much better description than I am able to recollect. The other guy is Chitrangad. Chitra is picture. Angad is like very resolutely fixed into that. The Angad of Ramayana, the son of Bali, fixes his foot on the throne and nobody can, budge his foot. Angad means very steadfast. So Chitra, picture, is the world. Somebody who is so firmly entrenched in the picture, worldly man. So these are the two sons of Satyavati and Shantanu. Later on it so happens that both of these, Chitrangad and Vichitravirya, die issueless. This is the external story. I'll come to the internal meaning. So, Satyavati calls Bhishma And he says, why don't you go to Kashi? Kashi is this, the Kutastha. And Kashiraj, the king of Kashi, is arranging the Swayamvar, where the girls select their future husband. So go and get all three of them. So Bhishma goes there, and he, by force, takes all the three about to be wed girls and brings them to Hastinapur for marrying our friends. No, they have already died. Or have they? They have not died, no. I'm a little confused. But anyway, they come back to get married to these people. But they die issueless. So now they are widows without any issues. What is this? What is going on? Kashiraj is Kutastha, and his daughters are three: Amba, Ambika, Ambalika. Satogun, Rajagun, Tamogun. They come to Hastinapur on the chariot of Bhishma, and they become widows very soon. One of them says, I am already betrothed to one prince and I don't want to stay here. You have done the wrong thing without talking to me, without conversing, without taking my permission. You have brought me here. I curse you. So he sends her back. But now the prince who had already taken a vow to marry her refuses. So she comes back to Hastinapur and says, I will be the cause of your death because you have virtually killed me in this process. Let us move on. Amba, Ambika, Ambalika were childless. Satyavati, the godmother now, wanted somebody on the throne. So she invited Vedvyas to impregnate all three of them. There is a very beautiful meaning to this. Don't look for sleaze, because there is no sleaze in this. Amba, Ambika, Ambalika, as I have told you, is three guns: Satogun, Rajagun and Tamogun. Vedvyas is the person who gives gyan in easily digestible divisions. So much for today, so much for tomorrow, and so on and so forth. And this gyan is taken by our three ladies in the way that they are structured. The Satoguni will take it in the way of wisdom and God and such stuff. The Rajaguni person will take it in the terms of how to increase my empire, how to increase my income, how to do this, how to get fame, etc. And the Tamoguni will say, who the hell cares? So, this supposed impregnation, which is not impregnation, which is just a sermon, was given by Vedvyas. Vedvyas gave them the vidya or gyan or knowledge or wisdom. And the Tamoguni closed her eyes. She didn't like Vedvyas' face. And this is a story, mind you. She gave birth to a blind child, Dhritarashtra. The Satoguni lady gave birth to Pandu. And the one who was Rajasic, then lane, give and take, grow the world, manage the world, stuff like that, gave birth because she replaced herself with her own maid. So the maid's son was Vidur, the minister of our friend Dhritarashtra. This is the thing that you will read throughout this Gita. So please listen to this carefully and store it in your mind. This will help you. understand what's going on. When I speak next, probably on Monday, we will start the first chapter. So now, these three kids are born, they grow up. Dhritarashtra being blind, Dhritarashtra is Man, Pandu is Kutastha, and Vidur, I told you, is the manager, Buddhi. So, Pandu is given the throne because of the incapability of Dhritarashtra, the impediment that he has in terms of sight. That's how the story goes. The reality is, Pandu is always the king. Now, Pandu had two wives. One was Kunti and the other was Madri. The Sushumna extends from the nether region all the way up to the Brahmarandra here. So you can go down or you can go up. It's your choice. It's how you manage your, your sadhana. That will be the result. Our friend Pandu asked Kunti to give the boon which she had received from Rishi Durvasa. Kunti means literally the ability to invoke divinity. So she could invoke any devata that she liked, Surya Dev, Indra Dev, Pavan Dev, Vayu Dev, whatever. So Pandu asked her to give the mantra Shakti to Madri. Now what is Madri? Madri is the princess of the region between the Swadhisthana and the Muladhara. The region which is which produces lust, which produces desire, which makes you go into, countless, go and do countless things which you should not. So Madri is the princess of that region. Incidentally, that region was originally ruled by what is his name? Narakasur. Narakasur is there. Narak, Asur. Narak is hell, Asur is demon. He was the king. That is what that region is. And between Swadhisthana and Muladhar, there is another demon who is the Senapati, the commanding officer of the army of the nefarious Narakasur. He is called Medra Asur. This Medra Asur gives the region his own name, so that is why Madri. It literally means Madri is, she causes lust in the opposite party, Pandu here, and she induces him to have children, she induces him to have intercourse. Thereby, Pandu has to descend from the Kutastha all the way down to Muladhara. That's a huge fall. That's why Pandu is supposed to have died after he had intercourse with Madri. Okay. Now, obviously, your Kutastha, if it goes down into the Muladhara and the Swadhisthana region, it will finish itself. You will have no consciousness. You will not remember that you are Pandu. So you are finished. Dhritarashtra then takes over, he becomes the king. He has 100 children. What are these 100 children? I think briefly we discussed yesterday, but anyway, let me repeat it. His 100 children are 5 sensory organs plus 5 work organs, 5 plus 5, 10. And all 10 of them moving in 10 directions, which is what Dasha Digpalebhyo Namah. Dr. Panditji will, whenever he does this puja, he will ask you to say Dasha Digpalebhyo Namah. Dig is direction, and Pal is the controller. So, Das Digga Palebhyo Namah, 10 directions. What are these? North, South, East, West, 4. Ishan Kon, Agni Kon, Nairitya Kon, Vayu Kon, 8. Up and down. These are the 10 directions. All your tendencies can go in any of these 10 directions, which is why 10 into 10, 100. Those are the progeny of the heart, the ethereal heart, Dhritarashtra, Man. And that's how you have two opposing people, or should I say armies, or should I say tendencies. One is the Kauravas, who want the world, who enjoy the world, who will grab anything that they can because they are the chosen ones. And on the other side, you have the people who let go. Okay, you want it, take it. You want this, take it. The Tapasvis, Pandavas. Pandavas, Kunti invokes after the death of Pandu, she invokes, no, while Pandu was alive. I'm sorry. Yudhishthir is the son of Yamraj, the god of death. She also has, before her marriage to Pandu, produced another child from this invocation. His name was Karna. He was the son of the sun god. She abandoned him in the river, for which I have discussed yesterday. The third one was Bhim. Yudhishthir, Karna, and Bhim. Eldest was Karna, of course, who was abandoned because he was born when she was still unmarried. And then Bhim. Bhim is the son of Vayu. Vayu is Pran Shakti. So when Chanchal, he will eat and sleep and do these things, which we do. And when he is steady, he is in meditation, then he is very powerful, which is why he kills all the 10 Kauravas. Kauravas, remember, are your sensory organs and work organs, and moving around in different directions are killed by being steady in your sadhana. Then the next one after Vayu or Bhim is Arjun. He is the son of fire, Agni Dev and Indra, not Agni Dev, Indra. The next two, Nakul and Sahadev, which we discussed yesterday also, are water and earth. Nakul is water. It will take any shape in which you put. So if you put water in a glass, it will take the shape of the glass. You put it in a shallow plate, it will take that shape, etc. Sahadev is the one who is very, artistic. He can draw, he can sing, he can paint, he can play music. That is the art of the earth, based on the earth. Now these are the opposing tendencies. The Pandavas have been, banished to the back of the body. And the Kauravas are enjoying the front of the body where all the action is. Eyes, nose, this, that, everybody. These are all Pandavas. Now Bhishma, as I told you, is the Jivatma, the reflected consciousness. Lord himself is Atma, he is the real consciousness. Bhishma is his reflection with all the encumbrances of the body. So he has taken the vow to protect the throne no matter what, which is why he goes, even though he absolutely adores Arjun and the other Pandavas, but he still takes the side of Duryodhana, which is the negativity. So does Drona. Drona is their guru. He is the sanskar. Sanskar means there are good and bad nature. Sanskar, nature. I don't know. Is that the right word? So, the guru, because if you do puja, in your house, traditionally this puja is performed in this way. parampara, by tradition. So that is why you will be asked by your mother, father, wife, "Are, this is how we do it, so just do it, don't argue so much." Parampara. You tend to go by what has been done over the ages. You don't try to invent anything new. That is drone. So there are good sanskars and there are bad sanskars. Good sanskars belong to the Pandavas. The bad sanskars belong to the Kauravas. And he is the guru of them both the groups, the Kauravas and the Pandavas. His son, I think I talked about Ashwathama. Ashwath is the old tree upside down, and Thama is the person who is holding on to the world. He doesn't let go because he doesn't want to go anywhere. He is enjoying. So that's Ashwathama. Sansari, a worldly person. So this is the array, and yes, we have our lame friend, the wicked Shakuni. Shakuni in Bengali is called the vulture. And Shakuni here is Irsha, jealousy. Duryodhana is a bad character with a bad brain. Bad character with a bad brain. Dushashan is lust, and there are many. So Shakuni is the one, jealousy is the one that feeds the fears or the incompetence of characters like Duryodhana, who don't have a strong character, who have a weak character, and thereby they think, let me manipulate and get my job instead of this fellow. They will try to boot somebody out and ensconce themselves there. That is in essence the metaphorical Mahabharata which is going on inside your body all the time. The real Mahabharata took place once, who knows, the Britishers and the other historians say 5,000 years ago. I don't agree with that. It is much, much more, probably 100,000 years ago. If I go by the Bhagwat Mahapuran, it says the age of Kali Yuga is 3,20,000 years. And we are at the virtual end of Kali Yuga, which means Pralaya is on the door, it's knocking. Someday there will be a catastrophe, a big catastrophe. There are Khanda Pralayas going on, small destructions, earthquakes, forest fires, blizzards, mudslides, rising water. All these things are already happening. So these are signs of the approaching apocalypse. Anyway, to come back, let me explain a few of these terms that I just used using Sanyal Mahashay's terminology. Because nobody can better that. He is brilliant. Chitrangad, we were discussing the two sons of Shantanu. Chitrangad is Jad Drishya, that means Prakriti is Jad, that means it is not enlivened, it doesn't have divinity in it. So Panch Bhutatmak Jad Drishya. Drishya is of course sight, what we see with our earth body, with our bodily eyes, not with our heart which can see here. So this Panch Bhutatmak Jad Drishya and Vichitra Avyavi Shobhan Sharir or Bahya Prakriti, the external tendency, he will always look out, he will always care for his body, He will always look at the beautiful scenes, beautiful maidens, beautiful gifts, and the power that is wielding. That is Chitra Angad. Chitra is picture. Angad, as I told you, is a person who does not budge. Like in Ramayana, the character who is the son of Bali. So he is fixed in his adoration, admiration of the world as he sees it. What is Vichitra Virya? Vichitra Virya is my God, I have lost it. Where is it? Anyway, I will not waste my time finding that. But you have understood what we are talking about. Yeah, let us talk about what Lahiri Mahashay says about Bhishma. That is very important. Here. This Bhishma, even though he lives between the Kauravas, he is heading their clan, he still has a little bit of affection for the Pandavas. Because even if I am very prone to drink and merrymaking and abandon, dancing, this, that, whatever, I still might have some affection for the godly. Now, I might not do my own puja every day, but if somebody is doing it, I might have a little affection. That is how Bhishma and the Pandavas are, they admire each other. Now, the one very important thing here is Draupadi and Subhadra. As you all know, Draupadi was born out of a yagya, a fire ceremony, a havan. Drupad, her father, is also Jeev. He wanted a son so that he could defeat Dronacharya. So he prayed for and received Drishtadyumna from the sacrificial fire or havan, whatever you want to call it. And this Drishtadyumna, as I explained yesterday, was also Drisht is seen, Dyumna is light, glow. So who sees this? It is seen by the sadhak. Initially if you start practicing, say a month, 2 months later, you might get a little vision here. You won't be able to define what you have seen, but you will be able to realize that is something unusual. There is a strange kind of, it is in Hindi it is called Chitra Vichitra Roop. Chitra, picture, Vichitra, strange, Roop, you understand. So Chitra Vichitra Roop you will see. The glow of the soul is starting to reflect in your kutastha. You are able to open the door ever so slightly and just a tiny little ray filters through. And that gives you so much enthusiasm, you feel, oh my God, I've just started a month, 2 months, 3 months back, and look, already something is there. I'm not able to define what it is because Drishtadyumna is very difficult to define. But Drishtadyumna gives you the strength, mental agility and the inquisitiveness to go further. He inspires you to think, if this is what I see in a month, what will happen after a year? I might get to see the Lord Himself. And that is why he is the first general of the Pandu Sena, the godly Sena, I would call them. He is the son of Sanskar. No, I'm sorry. Drupad is the son of, Drishtadyumna is the son of Drupad. He is supposed to kill Sanskar. Because if you sit for sadhana and you see a light here, automatically you forget everything. You forget where you are, what you are doing, who you are, everything is gone. You just concentrate on that light. That is why he is the first Senapati, the commanding officer, and the first person to enthuse a sadhak into doing more sadhana, continue to do sadhana. After he was born, the fire ceremony continued with Drupad, and came Draupadi. The daughter of Drupad is called Draupadi. She is also called Yagyaseni, the one who is born out of the sacrificial fire, the Havan of the Yagya. And that Yagya is inside you in your navel, in the Samanvayu, you have Pran and Apan going up and down, and that gives birth to your eliminating the obstructions to reach innermost Sushumna. Sushumna is the innermost path of flow of your pran. It takes three roots: Ida, Sushumna and Pingla. And reverse, it goes from Pingla to Sushumna to Ida. This is going on relentlessly ever since you were born. It moves from Ida to Pingla and Pingla to Ida, but when changing from Ida to Pingla and Pingla to Ida, it stops for a ever so small period of time, maybe half a second into the Sushumna. At that point of time, you feel a little, you can probably, feel something is going to happen, or, out of world experiences can happen at that moment. If you increase the duration of your pran staying in the Sushumna, then they are going to happen, not may, will happen. But you don't have to be swayed by that, but then that's another chapter. Let us go on. One moment, just give me a moment, please. Yeah. So, that is Draupadi. Sushumna is Draupadi. Shantanu's wife was called Ganga, but she is also symbolizes Sushumna. When you speak individually of Sushumna, then she is called Ganga. When you speak of all the three, Ida, Pingla and Sushumna, they are called Ganga, Saraswati and Yamuna. Yamuna, as you know, is the sister of the Lord of Death, Yam. Okay, so now I think I told you about Draupadi's selection of Arjun based on the process of Swayamvar, where the rules were set by King Drupad and in consultation with Lord Krishna, and he had to look down into a pot of oil while aiming his pranab. Pranab is the mantrakshar, and your arrow is your heart, brain, buddhi, ahankar. All three are the arrow. And you have to shoot this arrow into the eye of the fish. That eye of the fish is God in the Sansar Rupi fish. And the mantra for that is Pranabodhanu Sharohyatma Brahma Tadlaksha Muchyate. Brahma is the target. Sharohyatma, your Chitta Buddhi Ahankar, is the arrow. Pranab is the bow. So Arjun does that successfully and he wins Draupadi. You have to do that. You have to always aim at the Lord. You have to keep your heart, man, buddhi, etc. in the Lord. This bindu is here in the kutastha. So you have to shoot your arrow here and stay there. So these are the kinds of things symbolized by Lahiri Mahashay in the Gita, and we'll come to that. Later on, Arjun goes to Dwarka to visit Sri Krishna. There is a story behind it. I don't want to go into so much detail, but it seems that some cows were stolen, and the bow of Arjun was in the room of Draupadi, where second Pandav cannot go because the first Pandav has already left his slippers outside as a symbol that he is inside, so the others should not go. And Arjun has to go and get the bow and arrow, so he does, and then as a result is banished for a year to do puja. So he goes to Manipur, the Kutastha, the navel, Samanvayu, and then he goes to Dwarka. No, he goes to Somnath, and then he comes to Dwarka. Somnath is the Brahmarandra, and Dwarka is the Kutastha. So that is how when he reaches Dwarka to meet Krishna, he is already in love with Subhadra, his sister, Krishna's sister. And it is announced that Balram has announced that Subhadra will marry Duryodhana. Obviously, this will not be allowed by Lord Shri Krishna, so he says, he thinks, he doesn't have to announce everything, and he thinks it is better I get Arjun and Subhadra married. So he asks Arjun, why don't you kidnap my sister, because if you don't, Duryodhana is going to marry her. So Arjun says, I can't do that. My entire family is coming, Dhritarashtra is coming, my mother is coming, everyone is coming. How can I do that? So the Lord says, Subhadra, nowhere is it laid down as a rule that the girls cannot kidnap their prospective bridegrooms. So you kidnap this fellow. So here is my rath, my chariot. Go take him away. So Subhadra takes Arjun away and they vanish. And then Duryodhana and his whole entourage is waiting for Subhadra to come back so that she can get married to Duryodhana. But that is not to be. Because, how can it be? Subhadra is, what is Subhadra? We just discussed Draupadi. Draupadi is the Sushumna Nadi. Okay. Once you have Sushumna Nadi, you are aware of the Sushumna Nadi. Here in this, it is said you marry the Sushumna Nadi, then you are already godly, but some of your tendencies will continue, which is why he goes to Manipur, then he goes to Somnath, Shivkasthan, then he goes to Dwarka, and there he gets Nivriti. Nivriti is the sister of Krishna, we know that, but what it means is Nivrit. Nivrit means to get rid of. Pravritti is to get involved into. So we are involved into the world. That is one section of our body, the right side. That is Pravritti Paksh. The left side of the body is Nivriti Paksh. Nivriti Paksh is where you get rid of your worldly desires, worldly affairs, and move towards God. I have mentioned this repeatedly. Once again I will mention, if you go to Puri, the murti there, the vigrah, is, if you are looking at it, on your right side is the Lord Jagannath. In the middle is Subhadra, his sister, and on the left is Balaram. Who is Balaram? Balaram is the sadhak. What does he do? Balapurvak Raman. He has to use his mind, body and soul to continue to do sadhan, Kriyayogi'S. Once he does that, he will get Nivriti, Subhadra, on his left. As I said, she is on the left side. Once you get Subhadra, which means you get Nivriti, then you will get the Lord. Because Nivriti will be like a barrier between you and the world. A barrier which you will welcome, which you cannot do without if you want to move on. So, Arjun therefore has, within our terms of understanding, marriages. These are not marriages. These are associations. And thereby is the whole array of characters which will be revealed to you by Lahiri Mahashay's grace and Sanyal Mahashay's word artistry in the Gita as we go along. He writes so beautifully, it is very tough not to like it. But you have to go deep into it. If you make a shallow dive, then you will only hurt yourself. You go deep inside the water, 20, 30, 40 feet, you will love it. So, our introduction is hereby complete. Sanyal Mahashay has said we have reached page 85, which is the end of the introduction, where we have now identified all the characters of Mahabharata which play a very important role in the Gita. The Gita, as I have told you, is a part of the Mahabharata. Mahabharata has been written by our venerable Vedvyas, who is akin to God, semi-God you can call him. And he was meditating and he could see all that was happening on the battlefield. And he could see the sermon that the Lord Sri Krishna gave to Arjun, and he put it down to pen and paper. And that's how we have this. It took another Vedvyas, it took another Sri Krishna to get this Gita to you and me. That Vedvyas is Sanyal Mahashay. That Krishna is Lahiri Mahashay. He didn't have time. He would speak only a few words, maybe a line, 2 lines, 3 lines. And Sanyal Mahashay would elaborate that to 4, 5, 3, 2 pages. Complete, beautiful elaboration. So, I think we have reached the end of the introduction. I would like to stop here. Tomorrow being Sunday, there will be no Gita session. Monday, hopefully, we will continue with the actual Gita. The first shlok for your, most people know this, but the first shlok is Dharam Chetre Kurukshetre Sambeta Yuyutsavah Ma Pandava Mamakaschaiva Kim Guruvat Sanjaya. This so-called mundane query by an anxious father of a person who is got a television, so to say, CCTV, which you can see, is such a beautiful slok. There is so much between the lines. It will be revealed on Monday when we go through that session. Pandava means the sons of Pandav and their associates in the war. Mamaka is mine, my sons, their armies, their generals, their warriors. Together they have entered Dharamkshetra, Kurukshetra. When I didn't meet Guru Maharaj, I used to always think, why 2 names? Why Dharamkshetra and Kurukshetra? And there were no answers. Once Lahiri Mahashay has explained, it is very clear. Dharamkshetra is the back of your body, and Kurukshetra is the front of your body, where you do your worldly jobs, and the back is where there is nothing, no sensory organs, nothing, no work organ, nothing. You just do meditation, you go up and down the tree. So this is the query of Dhritarashtra. He is asking our friend, what's his name? Sanjay. Sanjay itself, the word Sanjay itself means Divya Drishti, divine vision. So I think I'll call it a day, and I would invite any questions. If you have any, if you have not understood something, please feel free to ask. Thank you. Are there any questions? Anybody? No. It seems not. Okay. So then, good night. Jai Guru, Ram Ram.
Jai Guru, and thank you again.
Yeah.
Every day.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Most welcome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.